They came on a Wednesday afternoon, when the sun hung low enough to stain the street in amber. 3 men, matching dark polos, belts heavy with gear that had no real purpose except to look official. They stepped out of a silver Ford Explorer like actors walking into their scene. From a distance, they could have fooled anyone. But not me. I'd spent 20 years spotting men like that, men who wore authority like a costume, hoping no one would ask to see what was underneath. I was in the driveway, cleaning the back of my old F-150. That truck still smelled of motor oil and sawdust, like the job sites I used to visit when I needed to remind myself that civilian life could be honest work. I heard the SUV before I saw it. Low idle. Tires crunching gravel. And then silence. When they stepped out, something in the air shifted. You could feel it. Not danger yet, but arrogance, the kind that fills space until it demands to be challenged. The tallest one called out. "Mr. Lomax, we need to talk about your vehicle." I set the box of tools down, wiped my hands on a rag. "What about it?" "It violates community standards," he said. His badge read Neighborhood Compliance Authority. Sounded made up because it was. I gave him a long look. "Since when does the HOA care what I drive?" "We've had complaints," he said. "From who?" "That's confidential." 2 of them chuckled behind him. The third shifted his weight, like he was waiting for a signal. That's when I knew they weren't here for conversation. They were here for submission. I didn't give it to them. "Tell whoever sent you," I said, "that my truck's staying right here." The leader smiled, but his eyes didn't. "You don't want to make this difficult." "Difficult for who?" I asked. Before he could answer, the front door opened. My wife Shanice stepped out with a mug of tea. Calm face, sharp eyes. "Is there a problem?" she asked. He turned toward her, voice oozing condescension. "Nothing to worry about, ma'am. Just ensuring everyone follows the rules." "Rules," she repeated. "You mean intimidation disguised as policy?" He blinked, just once. But I caught it. "Gentlemen," I said evenly. "You've said your piece. Now get off my property." The leader hesitated, then forced a grin. "We'll be back, Mr. Lomax. Maybe you'll be more cooperative next time." They got back in their SUV and rolled down the street, slow enough to send a message. I stood there long after they disappeared. The air felt different. Still, heavy, electric. My instincts, the ones that had kept me alive in darker places, whispered one clear truth. This wasn't random. It was organized. That night, dinner was quiet. Usually, our table was alive with laughter, Leona talking about school, Bryson bragging about basketball practice, Shanice reminding me to stop over-seasoning the chicken. But that night, every word felt heavier. Leona finally asked, "Daddy, why did those men sound like police if they weren't?" "Because pretending to have power," I said, "is easier than earning it." Bryson frowned. "So they're criminals?" "Criminals with clipboards," I told him. "The most dangerous kind. The kind who believe no one will stand up to them." After they went to bed, I sat by the window and watched the street. Every porch light, every shadow, every car that passed, I tracked it all. Not out of fear. Out of habit. The next morning, the neighbors didn't look at us the same. Some smiled too tightly. Others didn't wave at all. Silence has a sound when you've lived around danger, it's the same frequency as fear. By Saturday, I decided to take the power back in small steps. I mowed the lawn. Simple, steady work. The hum of the mower was almost meditative. For a while, I forgot about them. Then I saw the Silver Explorer again. It slowed in front of my house. Same men. Same arrogance. Clipboard, yeah, that's what I started calling the leader, rolled his window down. "Morning, Mr. Lomax. Beautiful day for compliance checks, huh?" I didn't answer. Just looked at him. Long enough for him to realize I wasn't playing. They drove off, but I could feel the weight of their stare on my back. That afternoon, I pulled out a notebook. Not for emotion, just for data. I wrote down everything I'd seen. Times. License plate partials. Their routes. Even the phrases they repeated. Community standards. Compliance checks. Same script, different targets. By evening, the pattern was forming. This wasn't about me or my truck. It was about pressure. They were pushing families until someone broke. Shanice found me still writing when the sky went dark. "You're going back there," she said softly. "Where?" I asked. "To that place you left behind, the soldier part of you." I didn't deny it. If I don't, they win. That night, I installed 4 small cameras around the property, under the eaves, near the mailbox, above the garage, and one inside the truck facing the street. My hands moved automatically. It felt like setting up perimeter security again. Different war, same rules. When I finished, Shanice was standing in the doorway, arms folded. "You're turning this house into a base." I looked at her. "No. I'm turning it into evidence." The following morning, I made a call I hadn't made in years. "Renner," a voice said on the other end, rough, clipped, familiar. "It's Lomax." A pause. "Been a long time. What's going on?" "Got a problem," I said. Then I told him everything. When I finished, he didn't waste time. "Send me the plates, the footage, everything. I'll run it. But listen, don't engage. Let me handle it from my end." I smiled faintly. "You know me, Miles. I'll try." He sighed. "That's what worries me." That night, the Explorer came again. This time, 1:13 a.m. The cameras caught it crawling past my house. They didn't stop. Didn't step out. Just watched. Predators like to remind you they're still hunting. Shanice couldn't sleep after that. "They're not going away, are they?" "No," I said. "They're escalating. But so am I." The next day, I parked my truck at an angle, enough to block the driveway so they couldn't pull in without being seen. Set another camera to focus on the curb. By late afternoon, my neighbor Don Avery stopped by. Don wasn't the talkative type. Kept to himself, cut his grass twice a week, always waved but never lingered. This time, though, his face was pale. "Garrett, I shouldn't even be here," he said, glancing over his shoulder. "But you need to know, those guys have done this before. Happened to the Hernandez family down on Millbrook. Scared them into selling their house last spring." "Did anyone report it?" I asked. Don shook his head. "No one wants trouble. HOA doesn't deny it, cops call it a civil issue. So people just let it happen." I nodded slowly. "Until it happens to them." He swallowed hard. "Just be careful, man. They can make your life hell." "I've been to hell," I said quietly. Didn't like it much. That night, the cameras caught something new. 2:07 a.m. The SUV again. But this time, one of them got out. He walked to the edge of my yard, looked straight into the lens, and smiled before climbing back in. He wanted me to know I was being watched. Good. I wanted him to think I was afraid. Because scared men get sloppy. The following Wednesday, they came for Shanice. I was running errands that afternoon when she called. Her voice was calm, but I could hear the tension underneath. "They're here," she said. I turned the truck around without thinking. My tires sang against the asphalt, heart sinking with the rhythm of the engine. When I pulled onto the street, I saw the silver Explorer parked crooked across our curb. The same 3 men leaned against it, arms crossed, waiting. Shanice stood by her car, grocery bags still in her arms. She wasn't backing down, but I could see in her posture that she was braced for something. Clipboard straightened when he saw me pull in. "Ah, Mr. Lomax," he said, that mock professional tone dripping off every word. "Your wife's been difficult. We're just trying to resolve an ongoing issue." I stepped out of the truck, closed the door quietly. An issue? I said. Looks to me like you're trespassing. He smirked. You really want to do this? I walked closer, slow and steady. I already am. His smirk faltered when I stopped just a few feet away. He tried to hold his ground, but I could see the flicker, the one that happens when a man realizes the bluff has run its course. You've been warned, he said finally. Next time we won't be so polite. I leaned in slightly. You've never been polite. For a moment, it was just silence, thick, heavy, ready to snap. Then he turned, motioned to his men, and they drove off, the Explorer's tires squealing as it left the cul-de-sac. Shanice exhaled slowly. You're provoking them, she said. No, I told her. I'm showing them I'm not prey. That night, I reviewed every second of footage. Their timing, their approach, even their formation. It was structured, military style, like a low-level op. But their execution was sloppy. Ego had replaced discipline. That was their weakness. I sent everything to Renner, videos, timestamps, the smiling face staring into my lens at 2 a.m. He called me back within an hour. Lomax, he said, voice sharp. We've seen this crew before. They're part of a property ring, fake compliance officers, fake HOAs. They intimidate families into selling, flip the houses, and disappear behind shell companies. They're careful. Until now. Good, I said. Because I'm done playing defense. Garrett, Renner warned, don't do anything stupid. Not stupid, I said. Strategic. For the next 48 hours, I set the stage. Adjusted camera angles. Synced feeds directly to Renner's network. Left the garage door half open for line of sight. It wasn't paranoia anymore. It was preparation. Saturday came, clear skies, quiet air. I could feel it before it happened, the tension, the shift in the wind. My instincts always knew before my eyes did. 9:47 p.m. The Silver Explorer turned the corner again, headlights cutting through the dusk. It stopped in front of the house, idling like a growling animal. I was already in the garage. The feed was live. Clipboard stepped out first, no clipboard this time, just arrogance. The other two followed, one with a flashlight, one carrying an envelope. He called out, "Evening, Mr. Lomax. We're here to deliver a final notice." I stepped out from the shadows. "You're not delivering anything but a mistake." He laughed, short and sharp. "You think this is a game? You've ignored citations, refused compliance, interfered with authority." "You're not authority," I said. "You're a fraud." The one with the envelope threw it onto the driveway. "Sign or else." "Or else what?" Clipboard grinned. "Or else we make you move, like all the others." That was when the sirens began. Faint at first. Then louder. Growing closer. Clipboard's grin faded. "What did you do?" I kept my eyes on him. Invited friends. 2 unmarked cars turned onto the street, lights flashing, engines low. Renner stepped out, badge catching the glow. "Hands where we can see them." Clipboard hesitated. His 2 men froze. "Do it," I said quietly. They raised their hands. Officers moved in fast, cuffing them, collecting every piece of fake identification, every forged citation. The Explorer was searched, bag by bag, folder by folder. What they found wasn't just incriminating, it was damning. Lists of addresses. Financial records. HOA templates. Even scripts for intimidation scenarios. Renner held up one of the folders. "They've hit at least 6 neighborhoods in 3 counties. You just handed us the evidence we've been chasing for months." Clipboard sneered as they put him in the back seat. "You think this stops anything? You don't know who runs it." I stepped closer, voice steady. "Maybe not. But I know it stops you." The street filled with light, police lights, porch lights, camera flashes. But this time, the silence that followed wasn't fear. It was release. Neighbors started opening their doors. Faces I hadn't seen in weeks. Mrs. Callahan across the street held her terrier tight and whispered, "Thank God." Don Avery stood by his mailbox, guilt written all over his face. I gave him a nod. He nodded back. Sometimes that's enough. When the last police car pulled away, Shanice joined me on the porch. The air smelled like rain and relief. "It's over?" she asked. "For now," I said. "But there's always another version of them out there. The trick is staying ready." She looked at me quietly. "In the neighborhood? You think they'll change?" I watched the flicker of porch lights, the silhouettes behind curtains. They already have. They saw what silence costs. The next morning, the headline hit the local paper. "Fake HOA enforcers arrested in countywide fraud scheme." My name wasn't in the story. Didn't need to be. The footage spoke for itself. Over the next week, people came by, some to thank me, some to apologize. Mrs. Callahan said, "I should have spoken up sooner." Don said, "I let them win by staying quiet." I told them the same thing, "Then don't let it happen again." Not here. Shanice started a neighborhood safety circle. Bryson's basketball team launched a Courage Week at the YMCA. Leona wrote an essay titled "Power Only Works When You Believe It." I didn't give speeches or interviews. That's not who I am. Once a week, I just walk the block. No uniform. No command. Just a man keeping his eyes open. Sometimes I stop under the same streetlight where it all began. The light's soft now, steady. The hum of the neighborhood feels different. And in that stillness, I think about something my old commander once told me overseas. "You can't fight every war, Lomax. But sometimes, one street is enough." He was right. Because this wasn't just about my family. It was about a community remembering its backbone. About good people realizing that silence feeds the wolves. I didn't save the neighborhood. They saved themselves, when they finally decided to stand. That's the thing about strength. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just stands still and refuses to move. And on that street, on that night, that's exactly what we did.